Hey everyone, welcome back to our Leader Life Masterclass. I'm Lauren Granado. I have about 10 years of experience in direct sales. I've got almost 20 years of experience running businesses and leading sales teams. I've been a top leader, a top seller, a top recruiter across multiple companies, and I've coached leaders on how to be successful. The problems that you currently have, I've had those problems too, and I've coached other leaders on how to get through them. So today we're going to be tackling a big leadership challenge, right? Figuring out who on your team you should be working with. Now that we've talked about time management, right? You've figured out how to take control of your time and become a time management expert, which obviously you need to implement what you learned on day one to be an expert, but you have the tools now. Leading by example, focusing on your own personal business first, prioritizing that when it comes to your time and how that impacts your team in massive positive ways, and then how to use KPIs in order to narrow down what exactly your team needs from you. Not only what to shift in your personal business for success, but also what each specific team member and your team as a whole needs training on, or needs practice with, or needs coaching on. So you've learned how to lead yourself, right? It's time to take it a step further and learn how to, not necessarily how to lead others today, but who you should be working with. You are a leader. You got here for a reason. It's not on accident. You do know what you're doing, at least to some extent. But one of the biggest problems that I see is that leaders try to drag along dead weight. They're working with people who are not coachable. They're working with people who are not willing. They don't even want to do the things that you're trying to push them to do and help them do. And most of the time, they just aren't able to say it. They can't tell you because they don't want you to be disappointed in them. But they also, sometimes they'll say that they're willing and they'll seem like they're coachable, but they're not results driven. Or we're focusing on people who have already achieved the things that we're trying to coach them to do, and we're ignoring the people down here who are results driven but maybe just are missing a couple pieces like skills or language. So how do you know who to work with, right? A big part of like the leadership trap, in addition to spending time on the wrong things, it's spending time on the wrong people. So when you're pouring your time and energy into teammates and you're not seeing them grow, that's a huge sign that you're pouring your time and energy into the wrong people. If you're trying to motivate people who don't actually want to be motivated, they'll accept your motivation, they'll take it, and they'll be like, okay, great, yeah, thanks, because people are polite, right? Like most humans are decent, polite people, and they don't, like I said, they don't want to tell you that they don't want to do the things that you're telling them. They don't want the motivation that you're giving them because they don't want to hurt your feelings and they don't want to disappoint you. So how do you know who to work with? How do you stop wasting time working on the wrong people? How do you figure out who is the right person, especially when people often are not willing to tell us, right? Like, how much easier would leadership be if people were just completely honest and said exactly what they were thinking and exactly what they meant? Instead of saying, I want to build a huge team, I want to be super successful, like I'll do anything, I'm going to do whatever it takes. One of the things I used to always tell my team was, don't come tell me you're going to do whatever it takes, because you are not willing to do whatever it takes. There is a line, okay? Everyone has their line. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I were to tell you I'd give you $1 million tomorrow if you went and stood on the street corner and, completely nude, or like did cartwheels down the street completely nude, and I'd give you $1 million, would you do that? Some people might say yes. Most people would say no because they are not willing to do whatever it takes. So get that out of your like vocabulary. Everyone has their line, and when people tell you they're willing to do whatever it takes, they still have a line. And sometimes that they're not willing to do 2 parties a week. Sometimes they're not willing to have conversations with people about the opportunity and recruit people. Like the line could be where I just said, like the crazy thing about doing cartwheels naked down the street, or the line could be like working more than 10 hours a week on their business. Everyone's line is different, but no one is willing to do whatever it takes. All right, so the 3 factors that will tell you who to work with. You need to look at their behavior, not their words. This comes back to the same little psychology tidbit of your team doesn't listen to your advice, they follow your example. People, whether they realize it or not, it could be completely subconscious in some people, they don't they don't pay attention to words or promises. They pay attention to behavior, even if they don't realize it. They're watching your behavior because they know they need, subconsciously, they know they need to copy what you're doing to get where you are. So now we need to then flip that back to our teams and focus on behavior to identify who is worth our valuable time. Because now remember, you're a time management expert and you're not working 40 hours a week to make $3,000 a month. That's ridiculous. You have high value time. So now you need to figure out who to work with, who is worth that time. So the first thing is willingness. They show up, they ask questions, they're hungry to learn, just like you were when you started out, most likely. If they want to know something, they'll try 5 different ways of finding the solution before they come to you with a problem. They don't need to be chased down. You don't need to contact them and say, hey, like, how it's halfway through the month and you're at 0. How's that party count looking? Like, we talked about reaching out to your frank list. We talked about doing this. We talked about your social media plan. How is it going? You don't need to keep coming back and chasing them down, because the people who want it will implement what you're telling them. That comes to the next thing, coachability. Even if they're not seeing success right away, they're not selling $1,000 at their launch party, they're coachable. They're doing the things that you tell them to do. And maybe they're new, they're still missing a step along the way, but then you come back, you use your KPIs to identify what was missing, you tweak it, you tell them, okay, now go do this, and they go do it. All right, you don't have to chase them down. They're coachable. They listen and they implement and they don't make excuses. The third thing is that they're results driven. So this is probably the biggest group of people that leaders miss when they're trying to figure out who to work with someone, because we all know we need to work with our new people, right? We all know that we should be paying attention to our top producers, like obviously the people that show up in our team space, the people who are contributing to the team, the people who you want giving their input to the rest of the team because of the results that they're given or the results that they're getting. But a big miss with leadership and who to talk to, who to spend your time with, are the people who are results driven but might not be getting the crazy high sales or a lot of new team members. Maybe they're not promoting in rank, but they are results driven. They're working towards goals. They might not be sprinting towards goals, but they are working towards those goals. They are coachable. They're implementing what you tell them, and they have a goal, they have a time frame, and they know where they are going, and they're constantly moving in the right direction. Does that make sense? They're not just talking about it. I'll do what it takes. I'm going to build a big team. Oh, I want this so bad. They're actually doing the behaviors that result in those things that they want. All right, so your job as a leader is to identify who these people are and then pour your time and energy into them. Because when you pour your time and energy into these people who already have the right behaviors, it multiplies the results of those behaviors. These are the type of people who probably could figure it out on their own and succeed without you. I'm going to be really honest. But they already have the energy that they need, right? Like, they have the mindset, they have the energy that they need, they're moving in the right direction, they have the goals, but they need to work on the skills. They need to develop the skills. Maybe they need some little tweaks to the wording that they're using in their posts or messages or party format or follow-up or whatever. They might need the confidence. And this is where you come in as their leader, as their coach, is you take all those missing pieces that you have from your experience of getting to where you are, and you pour into these people who already have the mindset and the attitude that's needed and the behaviors that are needed, and it multiplies their results. And it's when the two pieces click into place, it's the most amazing, fulfilling, rewarding, exciting thing. So take 5 minutes today. I want you to write down the top 3 people who are in your downline on your team. It doesn't have to be your like immediate, enrollees. Just the top 3 people on your team who show you these 3 qualities that we talked about, right? the willingness, the coachability, and being results driven. Write down your top 3 people who exhibit those behaviors, those traits. Those are the ones who you should be focusing on. And you might have way more than 3. Hopefully you do. Maybe you've got a smaller team, you're just starting out and you do only have 3. Maybe you only have like 1 or 2. Just focus on the top 3 that are closest to those behaviors and focus on them for now. And once you've worked with them and you've seen the impact that you're having on people who already have the behaviors necessary, then you coach more people. You add a couple more each month, right? Now, this is not saying don't answer questions from anyone else, or don't show up for anyone else, or don't, only train these 3 people. I'm not saying that at all. But when you are doing coaching calls and you're having like one-on-one conversations, it really should be focused on the people who are willing, coachable, and results driven. All right, so I've been working on something, and it's for those of you who are ready to go deeper into all the things that we've been learning so far in this masterclass. I've had a handful of you guys messaging me asking, well, a lot of you asking questions, but a handful of you asking for something a little more in depth. You want to go deeper. Some people have been asking, like, what are my prices for one-on-one coaching? I do offer that, but I am working on something that's I'm going to announce it tomorrow, that I think will be perfect for you guys, you specifically, who want to dive a little deeper into all the stuff that we've been talking about this week. If this training has hit home for you, let's just say this. If this training has hit home for you, you will definitely want to be watching for what I'm going to announce tomorrow. It's designed specifically for leaders who want to stop spinning their wheels and get efficient and figure out what works and deliver that, and not be wasting time throwing spaghetti at the wall, glued to your phone all day, right? Like, we want to figure out what works and just do that, and that's it. I'll be giving you guys all the details on that after tomorrow's final session, which will be Q&A for this whole masterclass. So like I said, a lot of you have been sending questions to me. If you have questions, by the way, message them to me or drop them in the comments. It's funny, actually. It's interesting how all the feedback and questions I've been getting have been in my, a couple texts and like in my messenger inbox. Like, you guys are afraid to comment. I don't know why you're afraid for other people to see you comment. It's like, and this is every leader in the industry, right? No matter what level, trust me, I have been at all levels, but I have also been like in close friendships with leaders at all levels, and even like in masterminds with leaders at all levels. And the really interesting thing is that everyone thinks that their problems are their own. Like, you guys don't realize that no matter what level of leadership you're at, you're always going to have to battle imposter syndrome a little bit. You're always, every leader is afraid to ask the questions because they're like, this is a stupid question and I'm the only one who doesn't know it and everyone's going to think that I'm dumb. Like, no, you guys all have the same questions. So anyway, send your questions to my DMs and I will answer them live tomorrow. I will not say your name of who asked what. I'll keep it anonymous because honestly, if you have the question, 20 other people have the same question. So I will see you tomorrow for live Q&A and for that special announcement. I want to know, this is something that you can comment without being scared. Tell me in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway from today? Just like, that's benign, right? There's nothing to be embarrassed of there. You're not going to sound dumb. Tell me what your biggest takeaway was from today. And I will see you all back here tomorrow. Bye.